Okay, I'm going to start with showcasing the tool I wrote, a little web-based interface that allows me to monitor the temperature and humidity of certain sensors. I'll show that in a minute, but first, the software. As you can tell, it shows me the uptime, the actual temperature and the humidity of the bathroom. Ignore the labels on here, and you got the second sensor, which has been up for 10 hours. Temperature is 17.8 degrees and 62% humidity. So this is the actual app that I wrote, and now I can probably just log off. Okay, so there's enough for that. Now here is the actual contraption that does all the heavy lifting. I know you could have gone away with an easier setup, but I just went a bit overboard with this. So the actual web server with the app is running on a Raspberry Pi, which is quite an interesting little microcomputer that does all the heavy lifting, and I got a nice industrial SD card, which actually helps a lot with the non-crashing of this thing. Usually it just crashes like crazy. Then you have a little Wi-Fi access point. It's a cheap tender for like a tenner, which is connected to this big strip. Obviously I got a little switch over here that connects the Raspberry Pi and the tender Wi-Fi hotspot access point, call it whatever you want. And here are the actual two bad boys that do the gathering of the data. This is a DHT22, I think that's the sensor, and it's got a little lovely shield. I don't know why I went with this long wire, but I think I didn't want it to interfere with the actual ESPS01. I think this is the one. I don't remember top of my head at the minute, but it doesn't matter. This is the actual chip that does all the Wi-Fi-ing and probes the sensor. And from here, yeah, it goes straight to the little access point, and then goes to Raspberry Pi, and then I can view it on the web interface I just showcased. So obviously I got two of them. This one is rather little finicky here, because I think one of the wires is not connected properly, not touching. But if I give it a little nudge, well, obviously now it doesn't do it. It restarts itself, but obviously now it's fine. That doesn't matter. As long as it's working, that's all good. So yeah, this is basically an overkill, and this is done because I need to provide some temperature and humidity data to the agency for someone, so they can prove how good, how bad the living conditions are here. So normally you could probably get away with just one Arduino Uno and and just one, temperature sensor, but as usual, went a bit overboard with this. The power consumption of this setup is probably not very high. I would guess not more than a light bulb. But yeah, there you have it, a little convoluted setup to measure your temperature and humidity, to report it to the agency. Oh well, that's it for today. Cheers.